Majungasaurus. Let's talk. So, thank you to a suggestion from one of my friends. I decided to do Majungasaurus for the second episode of Let's Talk Dinosaurs. It took a long time to draw this skull. Yeah, I think it took me about an hour and a half, I think. Probably an hour. But that's just because it's such an unusual skull. Like, I don't really know what to make of it. It's just, yeah, it's just so blunt and just like with that little, I don't even know what that's supposed to be, horn? That's what I depicted there. Yeah, in this episode, I don't really have much to like talk about. But well, I do have quite a bit to talk about. That's what I'm trying to say. But I'm not going to be drawing as much because like everything that I have to say about Majungasaurus is fairly easily explained. I mean, I could draw like a little bit of cartoons here and there, but like, anyways, Majungasaurus. This lovely creature only a mother could love. This lovely creature is it was discovered, and I believe it was 1886. I want to say it was either 18 or 1986. One of those. I don't know. I'll pop it up on the screen somewhere. But yeah. It was discovered in 18 or 1986. And it was found in Madagascar, which I believe was isolated at the time. So all the creatures there were getting a little weird. Some of the creatures Majungasaurus lived alongside was Majungasauruses, which is a crocodilian from the time. What was thought to be Majungatholus, which I will get to later. And a bunch of other creatures I can't think of the name of. I'll put it up on the screen probably somewhere. And yeah. So Majungasaurus is quite an interesting dinosaur. At first I didn't really know what to talk about it because it's so weird. And then I studied it a little bit more, and now I have a couple things to say. First, I want to talk about one of its defining features. The little bump on the top of its head. Now that little bump was found separately from the skull. And paleontologists at the time thought it was a pachycephalosaurid, which was Majungatholus. And then, once they found a more in contact skull a couple years later, they found that the bump was part of Majungasaurus. Forgive me, there's a lot of dinosaurs from the from that formation that have Majunga in the first part of their name, so I'm probably going to get a couple mixed up here and there. I will try not to, but pardon me. So, that little horn was thought to belong to a pachycephalosaurid. It wasn't. And yeah. Something that I really find interesting about that is that a dinosaur documentary decided that it would be a fun idea to actually name this creature Majungatholus, as what I just said, the Madagascarian pachycephalosaurid, which just turned out to be Majungasaurus. They call it Majungatholus the entire episode, and it makes me angry. If you want to see a really funny bit about it, Red Raptor Writes does a really funny little clip about it in his Jurassic Fight Club, Jurassic Fight Club episode. And also it's just a separate little 30-second clip on his channel. But anyways, and something else that I find quite interesting, that I don't see a lot of people draw in their paleo art, is what that is about. Now, you may not see it the best, but what I drew here is a rough rugose texture. That might not even be the right word. Yeah. But a rough texture. And I found that quite interesting. Because that was not necessarily what I expected. Because a lot of people just do Majungasaurus, just cover it all in flesh and oh dear, my cat's playing with my lighting. One sec. And we're back. So this texture right here, I interpreted as a keratin covering, which I depict in my drawing right here. It's not even the best reconstruction of Majungasaurus. It's quite bad, but it gets the point across, which is the point. That was so tough. But yeah, so I drew a keratin covering on its nose, because that might have been where that connected to. Maybe it was something like a rooster, where it had just a giant fleshy knob on its nose. And then there's these. I don't know what the mess what that was. I drew this skull off of reference, which is why it looks so much better than everything else. But those little dots indicate lips. I forgot to mention that in my Dilophosaurus episode, which is why I gave it lips, and which is why I gave this one lips. But yeah, so yeah. Also, something that I find really interesting about Majungasaurus is its anatomy. Because, Luna, can you not? It was unnaturally long. A lot of people call it the killer sausage of dinosaurs, and I kind of agree. But I personally like to refer to it as more of the dachshund of dinosaurs. Because the shorter legs, which I didn't depict great here, and its long neck, long torso, long tail, and its short, blunt snout. So this indicates that it may have not been much of a runner. However, it would have been quite good at lunging. And maybe it could have turtlenecked a little bit, and then once it lunged, it could extend its neck for hunting strategy. But yeah, and it lived in mostly a dry environment, so I gave it more lizard-like textures, and it lived separately from everything else, so it was a little odd. It was a bit of an oddball. So I gave it a little bit more spikes there, keratin on the face, and something that a couple of paleontologists researched, I think almost 2 decades ago. Don't quote me on that. But they believe that Majungasaurus was a cannibal. And then it was proven a couple years later. So, yeah, it was a cannibal. Probably wouldn't have actively hunted its own species, but if there was another dead Majungasaurus, might as well chomp down. It saves energy. And why the heck not? I mean, you can eat your brother, right? Moving on. Don't worry, my brother's fine. Something that I believe, I can't remember where I heard it from, but the theory was that Majungasaurus was actually quite inbred. Kind of explains the odd body, but like considering like you're on an island, and you're bound to run into the same individuals multiple times, and even the size of these creatures, which they weren't huge. They weren't necessarily huge. I mean, I believe they got like to the height of like your average minivan at the hips. So, yeah. And so like Madagascar, I believe, was either a little bit smaller or about the same size as it was back when these guys lived. These guys lived in the, oh shoot, what was it? Early Cretaceous? Yeah, I'll put a note on the screen. And yeah, I believe that's basically all that I can tell you about Majungasaurus. I'm sure more educated people can tell you more. But I personally am bad at researching, and I didn't know much about this dinosaur to begin with, so it was fun trying to research it, and I found some new information along the way. But yeah, this is about as much as I can like tell you. So thank you so much to the person who suggested it. If you want, you can suggest dinosaurs in the comments of this video. So yeah, I believe I will see you guys all in the next video. So, this texture right here. Hi. You want to say hi to the viewers? You want to say hi to the viewers? You want to say hi? So